Hello and welcome to another webinar session from Ginesys 1. Today webinar session we will discuss about ISD returns and IMPS reconciliation for seamless ITC compliance. To discuss this session, we have our esteemed speakers and panelists. Let me introduce them. Ms. Muskan Sachdeva, she is GST Support Executive. Mr. Pritam Pandey, Customer Success Executive. Mr. Gurdeep Singh, he is Functional Consultant at Genesis One. So, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar session. I'm requesting all the speakers to join and discuss about today's webinar session, which is about ISD return and IMPS reconciliation for seamless ITC compliance. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikram, for this opportunity. I am Pritam Pandey, currently working as CSE in EaseMyGST and taking care of all North and East Zone clients from past 2 years. I want to welcome everyone for this session of ISD return and IMS reconciliation. So let's start the session. First of all, who are not aware of EaseMyGST, I want to let you know. Basically, EaseMyGST is a GST compliance software which provide the services on mainly 3 products: GST return, e-invoice and e-way bill. We have entire solution with us along with APIs, and we have dedicated support team to provide support on all these 3 products. We have presence all over India with the client like the Grand Dragon from Ladakh to the Kalyan Silk in South. After that, I come to my agenda. What are the agenda we are showing here? What is ISD? What are its rules? And what are the benefits of taking ISD with EaseMyGST? Further, we'll discuss GST6 return with GST6A reconciliation. Next topic is IMS reconciliation, its benefit, best practice for ISD reconciliation. All other topics will be covered by my colleague Muskan. She will also show you the demo on live portal. Muskan, over to you.
I want to welcome all of you to today's session of, as Pritam has already told you, the agenda of today's webinar. So now I'll be telling you all about the ISD filing. As the name suggests, ISD, that is the input service distribution. It is basically that the GST input tax credits. The ISD is applicable only for the service invoices in which the input is distributed to the branches who share a common expenditure and billing. For example, there is one HO and it has its 10 stores. So from HO to the stores who are sharing the common expenditure and the billing is done common. So I am showing you some of the examples of the common services that are used by the companies. For example, the auditor fee, the security services, the software services, or the retainership fee, the lease rent, the bank charges. For example, there are some bank transactions done, or there might be any other common services if there is any. So today we have made all our clients on a very short notice for the ISD, since I believe that all of you must know by now that the government has made the ISD GST ISD filing mandatory from April 1st, 2025. So now today we will be showing you how you can use EaseMyGST software for your ISD filing. So now let's move on to what is ISD. I'll explain you the ISD using an example. So as you can see here on my screen that there is one HO and it has its 2 stores. So the services that are commonly used by the HO and the stores, then for that services that are commonly used, the input will be distributed according to the turnover of the stores. example, this the store 1 has more turnover than the store 2, then the input will be distributed based on their turnover only. And moreover, I want you all to know that the input is also distributed at the branch level, and as I told you, it will be distributed on the turnover. So here it shows the distribution of ITC by ISD. Here, yeah, as you can see that the for non-HO, that is if that is the non-HO site, then the tax will be divided as SGST plus CGST will be is equal to IGST. There should be the same PAN, and moreover the services should be commonly used by the HO and the stores. So for the ISD registration, I have simple 5 steps for ISD filing, for which the very first step, as you can see on my screen, is that you need to get your ISD GST registered. For getting your ISD GST registered, firstly you need to create for Ginesys clients. In Ginesys, you need to create an owner site, and in that owner site, you need to book those purchase service invoices in that HO site. Then, for example, if you need to get your ISD GST registered with EaseMyGST, then you need to get your ISD GST registered. For ISD GST registration, you need to contact our either you can contact your Ginesys CSN, or for EaseMyGST you can contact our CSEs, that is Mr. Pritam and Ms. Kajol. They will tell you all about the subscription details for the ISD registration. So for ISD registration, as you can see on my screen, there are some very simple and the basic steps. Firstly, I am showing you the steps written over here. Once I am completed with this, I will also show you the live working on our demo account on EaseMyGST portal. So here you can see for Ginesys, firstly we need to log into Ginesys. Once we have logged into Ginesys, there are just 3 simple steps, that is admin, utilities, and sync to EaseMyGST. So in there, you have to select your ISD GST, and you need to make sure that you are selecting your ISD GST under which you have booked your purchase service invoices. And for that, since it is purchase service invoices, so you need to select GSTR2 as your return type. Then once you have generated the data, then the data has been synced to EaseMyGST. Once the data has been synced to EaseMyGST, we will log into EaseMyGST and select the ISD GST. Go to GSTR6 for ISD and view all the purchase service invoices. Here, it is very important that you need to make sure that there should be no errors in the invoices. Then next comes we will create the GSTR6 summary and validate the invoice level data. Once you have validated that your data is correct, then you will save the data to GST. Now comes the main part of distribution of your input. For distribution of your input in EaseMyGST, we are providing you 2 solutions. First is either you can distribute your data on your own and share the sheet with us in our format that I will be showing you later. You can share that sheet with us and we will help you upload that sheet on EaseMyGST, and the input will be distributed. And just in case if you don't want to distribute the data on your own, you can take our assist services and we will help you distribute your ITC and upload it on EaseMyGST, and then save the data to GST for your input. Once you have saved the data to the government portal, then you will log into government portal and file your GSTR6. Now I will be here it is showing the ISD distribution, how the input is distributed. In order to distribute the ISD, firstly you need to calculate your previous year turnover based on both PAN wise and store wise. Then once you have calculated your turnover, then you need to create ratio of turnover for all the states that you have your stores present. Then we need to distribute the purchase services ITC as per your stores or your HO turnover. Once you have distributed the services ITC, then you will create the ISD invoices for each state. Doesn't matter the number of states you have, that the stores you have in your each state. So for non-HO and HO, the distribution is different. For non-HO, we will add the CGST and SGST to IGST. And for HO, we will create segregated ISD invoices. So I hope by now manually you are clear that I have told you about the ISD. Now I will show you the live working on EaseMyGST portal. So I'll just a second. I will show you the live portal. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Muskan, it is visible.
Okay. So now look, once you have got the ISD registered through us in EaseMyGST, so what you need to do is you need to firstly log into Ginesys. This is the dashboard of Ginesys. Then you need to go to admin. Once you have go to admin, you need to go to utilities. Under utilities, we will select sync to EaseMyGST. So for this, as I had already told you, that you need to create an owner site in which you will be recording your purchase service invoices. So while syncing to EaseMyGST, you will select the year, the month for which you are filing the ISD return, and from these GSTs, you will select the ISD GST. For example, this is your ISD GST. This ISD GST, after selecting from return type, you will select only GSTR2 and then click on generate and upload. Once the data has been successfully generated and uploaded from Ginesys, then the data will automatically, through our integration of Ginesys and EaseMyGST, it will be synced to EaseMyGST. So once the data has been generated from here, we will move to the next step by logging into EaseMyGST. So we will log into EaseMyGST, and then we will go to bulk operation section. We will go to bulk operation section, and in the return type, we will select GSTR6, and you will select the month for which you are filing ISD. So under this, we will make sure there might happen that there will be some errors while we have synced the data from Ginesys to EaseMyGST. So we will download the error file from here, rectify the error, and then upload the file here again, and then make the file success. Once we have made the file success, we will go to the GST level. So we will go to the GST level and select the ISD GST. We will click on ISD GST and then go to returns in GSTR6. We will go to GSTR6, and then as you can see that this is the main data file and the data file should be success. Then comes the second part, that is the view section. In the view section, you will see all your invoices. The total number of your total purchase service invoices will be reflected over here. Then next comes the most important part, that is the 6A. So in this step, we will fetch the 6A data from the government portal. So we will click on get data, and the data will be fetched from the government portal. It is showing no data since it is the demo account that I am showing you on EaseMyGST. So once you have entered all your invoices, we will fetch the data from the government portal. Once the data has been fetched, we will reconcile that 6A data with your purchase service invoices, and then we will click on reconcile. So once the data has been reconciled, it will be shown in these 4 categories, that is match, mismatch, supplier only, and purchaser only. So here we need to make sure that we need to take action on mismatch invoices if there is any mismatch in the invoices, and we also need to make sure that if there are some invoices that are not in your books, if you want to add those invoices in your books, then you can add those invoices in your main data file. And there might also happen that there are some invoices that are extra, then you can add those invoices in your books and upload the file again. So once the data has been reconciled, it will be shown in these 4 categories as I have explained. So I hope till now it is clear. So then once the data has been reconciled, we will move to the next step and the final step of GSTR6. In GSTR6, we will firstly create the GSTR6. As you can see, we will click on create GSTR6 and then confirm. It will show you the summary of your purchase service invoices, that what is the amount. As you can see here, look, B2B invoices, credit debit notes, and the values of your purchase service invoices. Once you validate that these invoices are correct and the figures you have validated, then you will click on save data to GST and check the save status. This concludes that your purchase service invoices has been saved to the government portal from EaseMyGST. So now comes the main part, that is the distribution, how to distribute the input. That is the main part. So as I had already told you that we provide two solutions. Either you can distribute the data on your own and provide us the data file in our format, and we will help you upload on EaseMyGST. Or the second step is that you can make the take our assist services and get your we will help you divide your input. So now I will show you our sample data sheet, that how we divide our input. As you can see here, that these are some of the purchase service invoices that we have distributed. So for the purchase service invoices, as you can see, we have divided the invoices into, for example, as you can see here, the IGST has been distributed as IGST. And then once it has been distributed, since there was no amount left, so we will move forward and distribute the SGST as SGST only, and then we will distribute SGST as IGST. So we need to do this step-by-step distribution. Then CGST is distributed as IGST, and then CGST is distributed as CGST only based on the invoices. This is basically a sample that I have shown you, and for the live working, we will show you once you connect with us for your ISD filing with your original data, we will help you file your ISD return by guiding you step by step how to distribute the input. So here I will show you, once we have divided the input, so we will go to this section, cross ITC utilization. In the cross ITC utilization, I hope you can see that there are two tables shown. Since it is showing amount 0 because this is a demo account and we have not uploaded the input. So it is showing the two tables of distribution, ITC available for distribution and distributed credited reconciliation table. So here it is showing the IGST, CGST and all the taxes distributed. So we need to make sure to calculate the ITC by clicking over here. It is showing calculate ITC. Once the ITC has been calculated, these two tables will be same. Will show the same amount. Once it has shown the same amount, then we will click on cross utilization. Once cross utilization has been clicked, it automatically saves the data to GST portal. That concludes that your input service distribution has already also been saved to the government portal. Now you are just one step away from filing. You just need to log into your government portal and file your GSTR 6. That was all about the ISD working live on a live EaseMyGST portal. I do hope that my working has been clear to you, but if still you have any queries, that you can write in the chat box and our panelist, Mr. Gurdeep, will answer all your queries. Invoice management system. I believe that all of you by now know what is IMS. The IMS is the highlight of today's going of GSTR returns. Since the IMS has been mandatory, it has been launched by the government on October 1, 2024. So let's get to know that what is IMS. The IMS is basically, it is a functionality that has been allowed by the government to the taxpayers, where they can take action on their vendors' invoices. They can take action in three parts. They can either accept that invoice, reject that invoice, or keep that invoice as pending. And I want all of you to know that the IMS is not mandatory yet. It is optional till now. But what we believe is that the government will make it mandatory very soon in this financial year. So now let's come to the next slide that concludes that how IMS is impacting the businesses. The IMS is basically helping the businessman in many ways, the taxpayers in many ways. It streamlines the compliances that makes your IMS, that makes your return filing easy by making the compliance smooth and reducing the workload. It concludes the better ITC management. You can claim your ITC better, and you can calculate your accurate ITC that avoids unnecessary disputes with your suppliers or any tax authorities. The IMS is launched by the government was one of the main reason was to reduce the fraudulent claims. For example, if there is any fraud claim done by any of your vendor or any of the person who claims the wrong false input that shouldn't be claimed by them, that then the IMS system reduces those frauds. And most important is it enhances your supplier relationships. For example, you have a vendor. That vendor has booked the wrong invoice. So earlier we didn't get to know that that vendor has done wrong filing or booked wrong invoice. But now we get to know that invoice wise. So once we get to know that invoice wise, and if we have good relation with our vendor, then we can contact that vendor and ask him that he has booked the wrong invoice. That might happen that he has booked that by mistake, then we can reject that invoice. Or if it may also happen that we are not sure about any invoice, so we can also keep that invoice pending. Now I will show you all about the GST return types and with their due dates, how the filing of GST should be done date wise. For every month, firstly, the first comes, as the number suggests, only GSTR 1. For GSTR 1, it gives we file sales invoices in our GSTR 1 that is due by 11th of every month. Then comes the GSTR 6, the ISD working that I had already showed you the whole working of ISD and how input is distributed to all the branches. The ISD is to be filed by the 13th of every month. Since the government has made it mandatory from 1st April, so we need to file the ISD return by 13th of every month. Once the ISD have been filed, then we will move to the IMS and GSTR 2B. So once I need all of you to understand that these returns should be filed on these dates only. If there is any delay in only one of the return, then also the whole schedule gets disturbed. So then once the ISD has been filed, then we will go to the IMS and GSTR 2B. So once we will, on the 14th of every month, we will fetch the IMS and the 2B invoices from the government portal and validate our input. So once we have got the invoices, then what we need to do is, after we have got the IMS and the 2B data from the government portal, we will finalize our 2B or IMS. That is, we will take action on those invoices, on our vendors' invoices, whether we want to accept those invoices, reject those invoices, or either mark them as pending. And then once we have taken all our actions and saved the data, then we will regenerate our 2B. Then the 2B will be regenerated based on the actions taken by us. And that is to be done before the 20th of every month. It is to be done before 20th because 20th is the due date to file GSTR 3B. So now let's come to the IMS reconciliation. So here I will show you the IMS reconciliation step by step, how the IMS reconciliation is done on EaseMyGST. Once I have shown you the steps written over here, then as I have shown you the ISD filing on our portal, then I will also show you how IMS reconciliation works on EaseMyGST portal. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is visible.
So now let's begin with the IMS reconciliation. Now, for IMS reconciliation, the first step is bulk IMS download. Bulk IMS download, that is, we need to fetch the IMS data from the government portal the same way we used to fetch the 2B from the government portal. Once we have fetched the IMS from the government portal, we will move to the step 2 that shows the submit reco logic. We will apply the reconciliation logics on EaseMyGST. I will show you further how to apply and which logics to apply. Then comes once we have applied the logic, that means the reconciliation has been performed. After that, we will take the action on the reconciliation result. Whatever the result will be, that will be shown in IMS Reco result action. Then we will take the action on those invoices. There are only 3 actions as I have told you earlier, that is accept, reject, or keep the invoices as pending. Once we have taken the action, we will generate the action summary and then save the data to GST, and the last step is to regenerate the 2B. So let's come to the step-by-step working of IMS reconciliation. As you can see here, we will log into EaseMyGST. We will go to the reconciliation part. We will go to IMS bulk download. In IMS bulk download, as you will click on IMS bulk download, it will take you to this page, IMS data fetch. Here you need to select all your GSTs. You can select all of your GSTs, and then you need to, and then you will select that GST, all the GSTs, and fetch the data from the government portal. Once you have fetched the data from the government portal, it will be shown in this format as I have attached the photo here. The taxpayer GST, it is our Excel format that the data will be shown in this format only. And on EaseMyGST, when the data will be shown, for example, this is one invoice, this invoice. Once this invoice is shown, once we will click on this invoice, it will be bifurcated with its details below. Then once the data has been fetched from the government portal, we will go to perform IMS reconciliation. That is, we will perform the RECO on EaseMyGST using some logics. For example, we will select our GST from here, and then we will click on analyze missing invoices. So we just need to apply three very basic logics for IMS reconciliation. First is across financial year. Second is fuzzy logic, and the third is reconciled if there are any amended invoices with our original purchaser invoices that I will show you also on EaseMyGST portal. So once you have performed the IMS reconciliation, applied the logics, you just need to click on submit, and once the RECO has been completed, we will get the reconciliation result. As you can see here, it is the reconciliation result. The reconciliation result will be come in these all categories that are shown below: match, deemed match, invoice mismatch, value mismatch, and there will be also one more main action, that is IMS only. Some invoices will also come in IMS only section. Then purchaser only and original SO amended, original supplier only amended invoices. Once those invoices have been shown over here, we will select the invoices and take action. As you can see here, it is showing action. We need to mark accept, we need to mark the invoice as reject, or keep the invoice as pending. So there is one important thing that I want all of you to know, that for example, you have a doubt about regarding this invoice and you don't know what to do, either to accept or to reject that invoices. Then you always need to keep that invoice as pending, because just in case if you take no action on that invoice, and when you will save the data to the government portal, then that invoice will be deemed, then that invoice will go to deemed accept. The government will automatically accept that invoice. And for example, if you keep that invoice pending, since you don't know, not sure about that invoice, and if you keep that invoice pending, then that invoice will reflect in your next month only. So once you have taken the action over here on all of your invoices, either to accept, reject, or pending, then we need to save that data to the government portal. As you can see on my screen here, you will take the action and then click on this save to GST. Once you click on save to GST, then it will show you the summary like this. It will show you the summary and it will show you the summary category wise, that B2B, B2BA, B2B debit notes, credit notes. If you have any ecom data, ecom amended data, then it will show you the number of invoices that you have accepted in each category, that you have rejected in each category, and that you have kept pending for your next month. Once you validate these invoices, that the number of invoices are right, then you will click on proceed with save. Once you click on proceed with save, your data has been saved to the government portal. Once the data has been saved to the government portal, you can regenerate the GSTR 2B from EaseMyGST only. We have the button to regenerate EaseMyGST. To regenerate the GSTR 2B, you don't need to go to the government portal to generate GSTR 2B. So now I will show you the live working of how IMS reconciliation is performed on EaseMyGST. As you can see over here, that this is the dashboard. So for IMS reconciliation, we will go on the dashboard, log into EaseMyGST. Then we will go to reconciliation. Once you click on reconciliation, we will go to IMS reconciliation. For IMS reconciliation, we will firstly click on IMS bulk download. For earlier, we used to firstly, based on your accounts, we used to do either 2A or 2B RICO. So we also have 2A and 2B RICO on our software. But in today's practice, we will suggest you to get your IMS RICO only. So for IMS based RICO, you will click on IMS bulk download. As you can see on my screen, for IMS bulk download, we will select your business from here. You can select all your GST at once, and then you will click on add. Once you will click on add, your data will be here, and you will click on get. Once you have clicked on get, then you will go to the request history. Here the data will be completed. Once it's shown complete, that means the data has been completed. Fetched from the government portal. Once the data has been fetched, if you want to get this file, then you will click on the download button. Once you click on the download button, the IMS data will be downloaded. Then once the data has been fetched from the government portal, we will go to the second step, that is IMS perform reconciliation. This is the main part where you need to apply logics for the reconciliation. For this, you will firstly select your GST. Select all. It is based on your choice whether you want to do one GST in RICO, or you can do, for example, you have 8 GST, and you can perform reconciliation of 8 GST at once only by applying the same logics. So you will select your GST from here, and then go down, and here we apply only 3 basic logics, as I have told you. The first one is across financial year. You will apply the logic of across financial year. Then the second logic that you will apply is fuzzy logic. If I will explain fuzzy logic for you, if any of you don't know. Basically, the fuzzy logic probable matches the invoices. For example, I will provide you an example. That, for example, you have booked an invoice by the name of ABC01, and your vendor has booked the same invoice by ABCD01. So if we apply the fuzzy logic while performing reconciliation, then that will get the invoices in match category. It will get in match category, but on one condition, that all the amount should be same. For example, the taxable amount, the tax amounts, IGST, CGST, SGST should be same. For example, as you can see here also, for example, A101 and A101 1718. So if the values are totally right, then it will get your invoice matched. And the third logic is reconcile amended supplier only invoices with original purchase. So it basically tells you that if the original has, your original invoice has already been moved to the match or mismatch category, and then you have amended that invoice, then firstly we need to take action on that. On that original invoice. Only then we will be able to take action on the on the amended invoice. So we will select the 5th logic from here. So I will repeat it again. Logic number 1, across financial year. Logic number 2, fuzzy logic on invoice numbers. And logic number 5, reconcile amended invoice. Once you have applied all of these 3 logics, we will click on submit. Once the reconciliation has been submitted, it will just take a time period of 2 to 3 minutes basically, and your reconciliation will be performed. While submitting, you can click on get history and see it will show completed here. Once the data has been completed, that means that your reconciliation has been completed with the logic supplied by you. So now, once the reconciliation has been completed, we will move to the final step, that is IMS RICO result. We will click on IMS RICO result, select your GST, and we will click on proceed. We will go to invoice actioning because we need to take action on the invoices. We will click on invoice actioning, and the invoices will be bifurcated in these categories. So basically, if you want to take action on invoices, So you can take bulk action from our software, but category wise. For example, you need to take action on IMS only invoices. Okay. So look, if I select only one category from above, then I can take action on these invoices. For example, you can take individual action also, and you can take bulk action also from here. So if you want to take action on these invoices, on this particular invoice, so we will click on this invoice, go slide a bit, and then take action. For example, you can either accept, keep the invoice pending, or either reject that invoice. And if you already know that you need to accept all of the 6 invoices, then you can click on all of the 6 invoices, select all, and mark accept. If you believe that you have taken any wrong action, then we have also an undo button. You can mark the invoices as undo. And for example, if you think that that a particular invoice you will not be remembering by the next month, then you can also add the comment on that particular invoice. If you, for example, if you're keeping this invoice as pending, then you can add the comment in these invoices that I am keeping this invoice as pending. Then that will be reflected in your next month. After that, once you have taken all the action, then you will go to, and then you will save the data to GST. As you can see, you will click over here, save data to GST. It will show you the summary of all your section-wise summary of your invoices that you have either accepted, rejected, or pending. The number of invoices. It is showing 0 since we have not taken action yet. So we will click on proceed with save. And once clicked on proceed with save, we will save the data. The data has been saved to GST. So once the data has been saved to GST, then comes the final and the last step, that is to regenerate the 2B. The 2B will be regenerated based on the action taken over here on these invoices. For regenerating 2B, you don't need to go to the government portal. You can regenerate the 2B from EaseMyGST only. So for regenerating 2B, you need to go to the same action, same IMS bulk download. When you will select the business, your business from here and add, then it will show you the option here that is generate and get. It is showing get already. So once we save the data to GST, it will show here generate and get. When you click on generate and get, the 2B will be regenerated and you go to the request history, and then the 2B will be regenerated and you can click over here to download your result. Once you have regenerated your 2B, now you can proceed with filing of your GSTR 3B. Just a second. Yes. Then you will be filing with EaseMyGST.
One major portion is the distribution sheet. Can you also explain about the distribution sheet?
Yes. Okay, I will show it again. Look, I'll show you from starting only. This is the dashboard.
Yes.
Okay. So the sheet has been, so the input has been distributed by the, I hope screen is visible.
Screen is visible.
Okay.
This is the basically turnover.
Yes, based on input has been distributed based on the turnover. For example, I will show you the sheet here. As you can see that these are the invoices recorded, and above is the state. We have distributed the input based on the state's turnover. For example, in this, Tamil Nadu has the largest turnover. So we have divided the input based on their turnover only. So it shows the percentage state-wise that has been distributed according to the revenue, as you can see the percentage over here. And below are the invoices that we have booked the invoices, and then their values and the amounts that has been distributed. Then comes the distribution. As you can see that this is the distribution done. As it has been distributed as IGST distributed here, then CGST as IGST, and then IGST as IGST. Then let's come to the next state that is showing here, where firstly we have distributed the IGST as IGST only. Then we have distributed CGST as IGST. We will distribute all based on the turnover once we have calculated the percentage. As we have calculated the percentage over here, based on this percentage only, we will divide the input. And then CGST as IGST. This is all the basic steps.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to the small presentation of ISD return. If you have any query regarding to ISD distribution, we have prepared a wonderful ISD distribution calculator sheet where we are helping clients to distribute their service invoices based on their branch turnover. If you want us to distribute, then we can also help you all. If you have already done your distribution based on your sheet, kindly share the input in our format so that we can prepare your data for ISD filing. As this time ISD filing is happening between Saturday and Sunday, which is 12th and 13th. So we are asking our client, this is the first time they are doing it, so prepare their data in advance so that during the weekends we can support them for their ISD filing. I hope today's webinar is we have shown you the fundamental. If you still want a detailed explanation, kindly connect with your GST expert or your account manager so that your ISD returns can be filed smoothly.
Thank you, Vinay. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, all the speakers and panelists. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining.